Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and today we have a little bit of double action going on for you here in this standard battle on the Fisherman's Bay map. The two stars of today's battle are Destroyer 1298 and Webster 681, both of them in the French Tier 8 Premium, technically medium tank, which is basically just a fusion of two different types of light tank, the Barrasque. Well, I say it's a fusion of two different types of light tank. That's not strictly true, but they are both in the light tank line. The Barrasque is basically a Batchat 12T hull with an EBR 105 turret slapped on top. It's very fast, it's very low profile, it's very agile, it has a good camo rating, and it has a two-shot autoloader in that 105mm gun. However, even though this thing is made up of the component parts of two separate light tanks, even though it looks like a light tank, even though it plays and handles like a light tank, it is very definitely not a light tank. In the most important way, it doesn't retain its camo value while it's on the move. In that respect, it is very definitely much a medium tank. However, this does not mean that you cannot use the Barrasque as an effective passive scout, as long as you've got the speed, and it does have the speed, to get forward into an early spotting position. Also, thanks to the poor gun depression, it is not the greatest ridgeline sniper in the world. As you can see, Webster here having to push the tank up onto the ridge in order to get shots, and beaten to the punch by his platoon mate, Destroyer, who was on level ground. So, first blood to Destroyer. Even though he got spotted, he didn't suffer any damage as a consequence, and a very welcome early kill, knocking out one of those hated enemy armoured cars, the EBR Hotchkiss. As you just saw, the tank is armed with a two-shot 105mm autoloader with a relatively quick reload between, well, loads. It does have a pretty quick reload between those two shots, but with an average damage output of 720 damage per clip, you really have to think about how you're going to get out after you've gotten in and unloaded those two shots, because 720 damage at tier 8 is rarely going to be enough to finish anything off unless it's already on low health. And your armour certainly is not going to protect you while you're reloading, so before you commit to an attack, assuming you're not just sniping from the cover of some bushes in the early stages of a map like this, you really need to have thought about how you're going to get out. Or platoon up with another Barrasque and double your effective firepower. Even then, it pays to take into account things like misses, bounces, penetration failures, shots that get absorbed by tracks, wheels, undercarriage, because when you only have 4 shots between the two of you, things like that can really ruin the moment, and if it does all go horribly pear-shaped, you're going to need some kind of plan for dealing with it. Missed the shot at the Lorraine, unfortunately, as did Webster. Okay, looks like they're both pulling back to reload. There's no one else over here other than a T-43. And okay, they've killed an EBR Hotchkiss down in that direction, and so far all they can actually see is a Lorraine 40T, but that doesn't mean that the Lorraine 40T is alone, it's just he's the only one that they can see. And even if the Lorraine was alone, and that's by no means guaranteed, he's got an awful lot of friends lurking over there in the middle of the map. So now is not the time to start developing itchy feet. Oh, here he comes. He's being remarkably brave. Either he does have backup that we don't know about. Oh, how could you miss that? No. Sitting duck, enemy Barrasque, middle of the field, missed. Must be kicking himself. Oh, the Lorraine's going for it. I have to admit, I fully expected this to be the point where both Webster and Destroyer gangbanged that Lorraine with the help of the T-43. But they didn't. They could easily have done it. Took out the Lynx 6x6 instead. But the T-43 doesn't actually appear to be in any immediate danger. Destroyer keeps checking to see whether or not the T-43 actually needs any help, but the Lorraine appears to have regurgitated his brave pills. It looks like he was just trying his luck and doesn't actually have any backup. Of course, appearances can be deceptive. It's often extremely difficult to judge why people do the things that they do in World of Tanks. It's often not for anything that resembles a logical reason. But as long as the Lorraine is content to sit there and not poke the corner, just getting hit by artillery over and over and over, He's no real threat. And again, you don't know who might be camping the ridgeline behind him, just waiting to try their luck. And speaking of trying their luck, enemy Barask in the open. Destroyer gets a couple of shots out, falls back to reload, Webster pops up, takes the shot, gets the kill. Meanwhile, has the Lorraine been... is he going for it? He's moved. No, he's content to just keep sitting there getting hit by artillery over and over again and not actually challenging that T-43 at all. Or is he? Nope. Like I said, it's difficult to try to figure out exactly what's motivating a World of Tanks player at any given time. Although it's possible that he is paying attention and he knows that there's a pair of Barasks here as well, and he doesn't fancy his chances against these two, the artillery and the T-43. But the longer he sits there getting hit by the artillery, the less chance he's going to have when he does eventually put his man pants on. And of course, he doesn't know it, but right now, there are no longer a pair of Barasks backing up the T-43, although Webster does keep checking back just to make sure the T-43 doesn't actually need his help. But for the moment, the middle of the map is clear, and the team over on the eastern flank probably wouldn't object to a little bit of assistance from the side. Destroyer shooting across the middle of the map here as Webster goes back just to check up on the T-43. He's going to be the first one in a position to actually help out his beleaguered surviving teammate. 2 shots reloaded. Nope. And a bounce. Oh, that was disappointing. Did not get spotted, however, so still pretty safe. And here comes Webster. See if he can do any better. Webster also reloaded. He's going to get spotted here, of course. First shot bounces against the side of the IS-6. He's looking right at him, but the second shot kills him before the IS-6 can aim. Nice. Now, they've both gotten away with it so far, but getting spotted in the middle of the open field was basically open season for enemy artillery, so it's time to scoot. Looks like the Lorraine is, yep, just sitting there getting shot up by artillery. So the T-43 doesn't actually appear to need any... oh wait, no he does. Here comes the Super Hellcat. Okay. Looks like they're going to arrive back in the nick of time. The thing is, they each only have 2 shots, so they need to make them count. The Lorraine is a 1-shot kill. But Webster is going to focus the Super Hellcat. And the reason for that is because the Lorraine is reloading, and the Super Hellcat is not. Webster takes out the Super Hellcat, Destroyer crests the ridge, and with 1 shot finishes off the Lorraine, and oh look, a Challenger. I don't know how long he's been sitting there doing nothing, just waiting for this opportunity. But he's going to wish he hadn't. He's focusing his fire on Webster, obviously, because he needs to kill at least one of these guys to stand any kind of chance of surviving the next 30 seconds. And oh, look at all the gold ammo. Being fired at a tank that has 40mm of armour. And Webster gets his revenge. So he's killed the Challenger and now he's reloading, but Destroyer is not. Webster went low, Destroyer went high, and as Webster finishes off the Challenger, he gets shot at by an IS-2M in the middle of the field and missed by enemy artillery. Is able to stop, at least attempt to make both of his shots count at the IS-2M before the enemy heavy reloaded. And of course, Webster has already reloaded by now, which is going to be real bad news for the GW Panther. As the 2 of them circle around to work some of that double team magic on the enemy heavy. Yeah, that's right, you look at the tank with the low health, not at me, and you're dead too. Wow. Not that long ago, this team was outnumbered. There goes the M12. That just leaves an Su-152 and 1 further artillery. It looks like the GW Panther is possibly trying to drown himself. Yeah, there he goes. Check him out on the map. Just scumbags doing scumbag things. But his evil plan was thwarted by the T-26E5. That just leaves the Su-152, who's going to have 1 chance to make something out of this. There's the derp, and oh, 879 damage. It was good, but Destroyer was on full health, so it wasn't enough. Webster, who would have been killed by that, zooming in and taking the final kill. Webster's 8th kill of the match, so that's going to be a Radley Walters medal for him, but also 4 kills for Destroyer, which means with a minimum of 3 kills each in the platoon, and they're surviving to the end of the battle. That's a Brothers in Arms medal, but more importantly, with 12 kills between the 2 platoon members, that's also the extremely rare Crucial Contribution medal. And it's a mark of how much those 2 guys had to carry that battle, that when you look at the team scores, only 5 No, 6 members of the team managed to actually out-damage their counterparts on the enemy team, and everybody on the enemy team managed to do some damage with the exception of the Hotchkiss EBR, who was the first one to die, compared to 3 members of their team that did manage to do a single point of damage between them. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together please, or, press F to pay respects if you prefer, for Destroyer 1298 and Webster 681, carrying the pants off the majority of their team, with the exception of a couple of honourable mentions, in a Tier 8 random battle on the Fisherman's Bay map. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you maybe learned a thing or two, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.